Imagine a dinosaur so strange that for decades, scientists couldn't quite figure out what it really looked like. Picture an animal larger than a T-Rex, with a crocodile-like snout filled with sharp, conical teeth, and a gigantic, sail-like structure rising from its back. Was it a terrifying land predator, a river-dwelling fisherman, or something in between, a creature that defies our categories entirely? Today, we're diving into the story of Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, one of the most mysterious dinosaurs ever discovered. And before we begin, if you love exploring the lost worlds of prehistoric creatures, dinosaurs, Ice Age giants, and early humans, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Your support helps us bring these incredible stories of ancient life straight to you. Now, let's step back about 100 million years into a world where Spinosaurus ruled. Spinosaurus, whose name literally means spine lizard, lived during the Cretaceous period, roughly 95 million years ago. Fossil evidence places it in what is now North Africa, a region that looked very different back then. Instead of endless deserts, there were lush river systems, mangrove swamps, and giant waterways teeming with fish. This environment wasn't just home to Spinosaurus. It was the stage for one of the most unusual evolutionary experiments nature ever attempted. So, what made Spinosaurus stand out? First, its size. Estimates suggest it could reach lengths of 50 to 60 feet, longer than a city bus, and weigh up to 20 tons. That means it may have been the largest carnivorous dinosaur ever known, even bigger than the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. But unlike T-Rex, which had a massive skull and bone-crushing jaws, Spinosaurus had a long, narrow snout filled with around 60 straight, sharp teeth. These weren't meant for breaking bones. They were designed for gripping slippery prey like fish. Imagine a dinosaur with the hunting tools of a crocodile, scaled up to monstrous proportions. And then there's the sail. Rising from its back were elongated neural spines, some more than 6 feet tall, covered in skin, forming a spectacular sail or ridge. What was it for? Scientists have debated this for decades. Some believe it was used for display, attracting mates or intimidating rivals. Others suggest it might have helped regulate body temperature, like a biological radiator. And there's a newer theory, that the sail acted like a stabilizer while swimming, giving Spinosaurus better control in the water. And here's where things get really fascinating. For a long time, paleontologists assumed all big predatory dinosaurs were land-based hunters, but evidence started piling up that Spinosaurus may have been the first known dinosaur adapted for life in water. Fossils showed dense, heavy bones that would have helped it stay submerged. Its paddle-like feet suggest it could push against the water, and its tail, later discovered to be broad and flexible, may have functioned like the tail of a giant newt, propelling it forward. In short, Spinosaurus wasn't just dabbling in the river. It may have been a semi-aquatic hunter, spending much of its life in the water. This lifestyle makes sense when you consider its habitat. North Africa at the time was filled with massive rivers and lakes, and the fossil record reveals an abundance of giant fish, some longer than a human. One of its likely prey species was the enormous Onchopristis, a sawfish armed with a snout full of serrated teeth. Spinosaurus had the perfect tools to take these giants down. Picture this colossal predator lurking beneath the surface, its crocodile-like head breaking the waterline as it lunges forward to snap up a thrashing fish. But here's the catch. The story of Spinosaurus is full of gaps and mysteries. The very first fossils, discovered in Egypt in the early 20th century, were tragically destroyed during World War II bombings. For decades, paleontologists had only drawings and written notes to go on. It wasn't until the late 20th and early 21st century that new fossil finds in Morocco reignited the debate, challenging old assumptions and reshaping our understanding of this dinosaur. One of the most surprising discoveries came in 2014, when researchers announced that Spinosaurus had relatively short, stocky hind legs compared to other giant theropods. This suggested it wasn't built for fast running on land. Instead, it reinforced the idea of a dinosaur specialized for the water, slow and awkward on land, but powerful and efficient in rivers. Later, in 2020, the discovery of a broad, fin-like tail added even more weight to the aquatic hypothesis. Suddenly, Spinosaurus wasn't just the oddball of the dinosaur world. It was a game-changer, proving that dinosaurs were far more adaptable than we ever imagined. And yet, the mysteries continue. Did Spinosaurus hunt only fish? Or did it occasionally go after land animals too? Was its sail brightly colored, flashing like a billboard above the water's surface? Or was it something more subtle, hidden beneath murky swamps? These questions keep paleontologists debating, piecing together clues from the fossil record bit by bit. Of course, no creature, no matter how powerful, escapes extinction. Spinosaurus vanished around 93 million years ago, likely due to environmental changes. Shifts in river systems and climate may have reduced its food supply. Competition with other predators could also have played a role. And like many other dinosaurs of its era, it ultimately disappeared, long before the asteroid strike that ended the reign of T-Rex and Triceratops. Its extinction remains part of the broader puzzle of Cretaceous ecosystems, reminding us how fragile even the mightiest creatures can be in the face of changing environments. What's remarkable is how much we've learned about Spinosaurus in just the last 2 decades. Each new fossil discovery has overturned old ideas and opened new debates. In many ways, Sex 0.05. Spinosaurus is still teaching us about evolution, adaptation, and survival. It challenges our assumptions of what dinosaurs could be, proving that prehistoric life was far more diverse than Hollywood often portrays. And that's the heart of archaeology and paleontology. These sciences aren't about dusty bones in museum drawers. They're about rewriting the story of life itself, using the fragments left behind. Every tooth, every bone, every fossilized track is a piece of the puzzle, bringing us closer to understanding creatures like Spinosaurus. What makes Spinosaurus especially fascinating isn't just its bizarre anatomy. It's the way scientists have unraveled its story piece by piece, like detectives solving a century-old mystery. Fossils are fragile, incomplete, and often separated by thousands of miles. For Spinosaurus, this problem is magnified because so much of its original material was destroyed. That means modern researchers have had to get creative, relying not only on digging up bones, but also on high-tech tools to bring this dinosaur back to life. Take CT scanning, for example. When paleontologists uncover bones in Morocco, they often use advanced scanners to peer inside without damaging the fossil. These scans reveal details about bone density, which, in Spinosaurus's case, turned out to be much higher than most theropods. That density told scientists something crucial. The dinosaur's skeleton was weighted down, almost like a diver's belt, helping it stay submerged instead of bobbing to the surface. Another breakthrough came from isotope analysis. By studying the chemical composition of Spinosaurus teeth, scientists can track what kind of water it spent time in. The results suggest that Spinosaurus didn't just visit rivers now and then. It was a permanent resident of aquatic environments. Combine that with its crocodile-like snout and conical teeth, and the image becomes clearer. This was a dinosaur specialized for catching fish, a predator that blurred the line between land and water. But perhaps the most dramatic finding of recent years was the reconstruction of its tail. For decades, reconstructions showed Spinosaurus with a tail similar to T-Rex, a stiff counterbalance for walking on land. But in 2020, new fossils revealed something completely different: a long, flexible tail shaped almost like a paddle. When researchers tested digital models in water tanks, they discovered this tail could generate strong thrust, much like the tail of a crocodile or salamander. That was a game changer. It meant Spinosaurus wasn't just waiting, it was actively swimming, something no other large theropod dinosaur is known to have done. Of course, not every scientist agrees. Some argue that Spinosaurus was more of a shoreline stalker, standing in shallow waters and snapping up fish without diving in. Others believe it could switch between both lifestyles, depending on what the environment demanded. This debate is part of what keeps the story alive. Paleontology isn't about having all the answers. It's about testing ideas against the evidence and revising our picture as new clues emerge. Now, why does all this matter to us today? Beyond the thrill of solving prehistoric mysteries, Spinosaurus forces us to rethink what adaptation really means. Here was a dinosaur that carved out a completely unique niche, proving that life doesn't follow a single blueprint. Evolution, it turns out, is a master of experimentation. The more we study creatures like Spinosaurus, the better we understand how animals respond to changing environments. a lesson that feels especially urgent in our own age of climate change. Think about it. Spinosaurus thrived in a wet, river-rich world that no longer exists. When those ecosystems shifted, whether through climate fluctuations or geological changes, it couldn't adapt fast enough. Its story is a reminder that no species, no matter how dominant, is guaranteed survival if its environment collapses. For us, studying these ancient patterns helps scientists predict how modern animals might respond to rising seas, warming climates, or shrinking habitats. In other words, the fossils of Spinosaurus aren't just relics of the past, they're warning signs for the future. There's also something profoundly human about this search. The story of Spinosaurus shows how fragile knowledge can be. Remember, the very first fossils were destroyed in war. If not for the persistence of scientists decades later, the animal's true nature might have remained lost forever. Each discovery since then has depended on global collaboration. Fossils dug in Morocco, analyzed with European lab equipment, interpreted by international teams. Science itself becomes a survival story, not for the species, but for knowledge. And let's not forget the power of imagination. Every time we reconstruct Spinosaurus, whether through skeletal mounts, computer models, or documentaries, we're not just showing bones. We're breathing life back into an animal that vanished 93 million years ago. That act of storytelling is what makes paleontology so powerful. It transforms stone into story, data into drama. So, what's the final picture of Spinosaurus? It was a giant, possibly the largest carnivorous dinosaur of all time. It combined traits we see separately in modern crocodiles, herons, and even sailfish. It dominated its watery world, chasing down enormous fish with agility and power. And then, like so many species before and after, it disappeared, leaving behind just enough traces for us to rediscover its mystery millions of years later. Before we wrap up, let's step back and consider the bigger picture. Dinosaurs are often portrayed as static monsters, giant reptiles that roared across the land until a rock from space wiped them out. But creatures like Spinosaurus show us something different. They reveal a world full of experimentation, where evolution pushed boundaries we never expected. Some dinosaurs grew feathers and took to the skies. Others, like Spinosaurus, reshaped their bodies to hunt in rivers. Life is never one-dimensional. It's endlessly creative. And that's why the story of Spinosaurus matters. It's not just about one dinosaur. It's about the resilience, fragility, and adaptability of life on Earth. By studying this strange predator, we learn not only about the past, but about ourselves and the challenges we face today. As we close, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey into the prehistoric rivers of North Africa. Stash at Meta, pause, sex 0.05. If you enjoyed exploring the mystery of Spinosaurus, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next adventure. Because if Spinosaurus ruled the waterways, who were the giants of the prehistoric seas? Creatures even larger, stranger, and perhaps more terrifying than dinosaurs themselves. Stay tuned, because next time, we'll dive into the ocean world of the mosasaurs, the sea dragons that ruled when dinosaurs ruled the land. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, keep exploring.